Hey guys, Arez here and welcome to the full review of the Infinix HOT 10. So stick till the end of the video. Let's start our review from the build quality and the design of the phone. And from the build quality, this phone is pretty sturdy as it's made of plastic and no metal or aluminum whatsoever. It does not have a glass back and this makes the phone a lot more sturdy in my opinion. It is nice to hold and this phone isn't a fingerprint magnet. On the bottom of the phone there is a headphone jack, a micro USB port and a speaker grill, which is very convenient that you have a headphone jack these days. On the right side of the phone there is volume rockers and the power key, and they are also very tactile and I have no complaints about. On the left side of the phone though, you have a SIM ejection tray with 2 SIMs and a micro USB card, and it is a hybrid SIM slot, so build quality and design is pretty good. And on the back of the phone, of course, you have the fingerprint sensor and the cameras. Now let's talk a little bit about the humongous display on the front, which is a huge display with a punch hole cutout at the side of the phone, and it is a really giant display. It is an IPS LCD panel with 6.78 inches and it is a 720p panel. So the display has good viewing angles. Its PPI is not as much as you would have wanted, but it's probably fine for a mid-range phone and it would do you a lot of tricks, but it's not as sharp as its competitors, as some of the phones in this price segment still offer an IPS LCD panel with 1080p, so that is a huge blow for this display. The display gets plenty bright due to its 400 nits of peak brightness, which means you would have good outdoor visibility and sunlight viewing angles. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about the battery life, as it's nothing short of amazing. It's been giving me about 8 to 9 hours of screen on time, and I think it's expected due to a big battery cell like this, but also not to mention that it takes a lot of time to charge as well. It takes about 3 to 3.5 hours to charge, but the battery life compensates for it eventually. Now let's dive into the performance, and it is a mid-range phone and it is powered by a Helio G70, which is a MediaTek processor in the mid-range segment, and it is not the best processor out there for mid-range devices, but it's also not the worst. It's somewhere in between. It gets the job done. It's certainly not a gaming processor by any means, and I wouldn't go as far to play big titles on this thing, and it will lag a lot. And I have tried playing PUBG and Call of Duty. The Call of Duty was fine with stable frames, but the PUBG it was not very good, and the experience was also very bad due to the gyroscope sensor delay that I faced while playing PUBG. So I wouldn't recommend this phone if you're into gaming. You should probably spend a lot more money if you're into gaming, and this phone is certainly not the phone if you're into gaming. Now let's talk a little bit about these cameras on the back and the front of the phone. We have 4 cameras on the back of the phone, and they are as follows: 16 megapixel, a 2 megapixel macro, a 2 megapixel depth, and a low light sensor, and an 8 megapixel front sensor. The camera app is loaded with tons of features, and I will be linking up some photos so you can have an idea how the camera quality of this phone is, and I will leave it up to you to decide how is it. Now let's talk a little bit about the software, which in my opinion is the weakest and the strongest point of this phone at the same time. It uses the Dolphin OS 7.0 and the Android 10, and the software is in my opinion very weak. Although the phone is pretty stable with no bugs whatsoever in the UI or anything, I didn't notice any single bug, but the phone is loaded with tons of ads and recommendations which were very hard to get rid of, and I'm using a custom Poco launcher to get rid of this. The stock UI is a bit laggy, and I don't really like the way you have tons of ads and themes going on, and it looks very unrealistic and very cartoonish. So I had to get rid of this and install a custom launcher, and that was making the experience a whole lot better than it usually was in the first place. However, the settings were loaded with features, tons of features here and there for each individual thing. I was very happy with the experience, but the ads made it really bad, and the launcher of the phone was also not good. Concluding the review, I would give it a 7.5 stars out of 10 stars if I would have recommended this phone. Yes, I do recommend to get it, but make sure to subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And if you want to see more videos like this and full reviews of smartphones, here is a playlist linked down in the description about smartphone reviews, and you can also watch some other cool stuff. So make sure to subscribe.